Mr Speaker.
Marama Davidson.
Tēnā koe e te māngai, tēnā tātou katoa, ngā mima pāre mata o tēnei whare, kia ora. Anō hoki he mihi mahana, mihi aroha ki ngā te kahungunu, rongo whakaata, te aitanga a māhaki hoki, ki a koe te tūpana ko wīpere me tōna whakapapa me ngā uri. Kia ora koutou katoa. It is my honour to stand for the Green Party and speak in support of the Māori Purposes Bill about to be changed to the Māori Purposes We Pere Trust Act 1991. We are very clear, the Green Party are very clear and have long stood for the position that Māori must be empowered and trusted to make governance decisions over their land, their people, and so forth. And that absolutely is upholding the te tiriti relationship and mana motu hake, tino rangatiratanga, which is what our tupuna always envisaged for our people. So what we are debating here in the House is that the Māori Purposes Bill will remove the Crown. So that's the mana motu hake part, the removing of the Crown from out of the administration of the We Pere Trust. And we fully support that move. As we've heard, and I'll repeat again, that the Trust was created in 1899 to be able to care for and be the kaitiaki, a collective kaitiaki of the estate of the prominent East Coast leader, politician, Wiremu Pere. So, you know, this is a sizable trust, as many of my colleagues have put forward to this House today. I think we're talking about 460 beneficiaries, net assets of around 66 million, probably grown since then. Last year, that was the recorded number. So the purpose of this bill, we need to be really clear about that. So what the We Pere Trust is wanting to do is to make their whenua more usable, make their land more usable, which requires for it to be more commercially flexible. They want to be more accountable to beneficiaries. They want to improve the governance arrangements and remove the unnecessary Crown involvement. And on the face of it, we absolutely support and uphold those kaupapa, those visions for their trust. Essentially, this bill is to corporatise the trust and to corporatise the workings and the way that it runs its business. So the positive is that we do stand for a more modern, you know, we will see a more modern trust organisation unshackled by the Crown. And that is a good thing, and that is able to move Māori organisations forward. What I do want to spend a little bit of time on, I take it very seriously, being on the Māori Affairs Select Committee and hearing submitters, and also in the tradition of the Green Party, ensuring that the concerns are given space and are given airing, and that is part of a healthy democratic system. So I was very honoured to be at the Gisborne submissions. The submitters were very, very clear that the whakapapa and blood connections needed to be retained at all costs, and we've heard that in a good move, the work of the Māori Affairs Select Committee, that the High Court will retain, the Māori Land Court, being able to determine that as a more knowledgeable organisation when it comes to tikanga Māori and matauranga Māori. Absolutely, there were concerns that there could be the possibility of the minority of owners being able to override the majority, and that is not for nothing, because the mandate was something that was raised, the mandate given to make these changes. So although 91% there was a 91% vote of support, yes, but as with the tiriti settlements, only 30% of eligible voters actually voted. And I certainly have always questioned what sort of a mandate that is. And this is actually not always a criticism of the Trust either, because we do need to acknowledge the real difficulties and challenges of engagement, the real difficulties and challenges of trying to sort of fit a Māori organisation into an imposed, essentially, Pākehā and Crown system. And that always is met with challenge, and it is nearly every time met with a low level of engagement. However, it was a concern that was noted and one I feel obliged to raise. It's not so much corporatisation in and of itself which is opposed by Māori. That concern is also not for nothing, and it is raised across many Māori settlements and process changes because of the very real threats that we have seen over hundreds of years and many generations of what can happen when we shift power, when the power balances, when power imbalances arise. And my colleague Catherine Delahunty will spend a bit more time on that issue when she gets to her speech. Absolutely. I want to pick up on one of the submitters who talked about, quote, "We do not fully understand the benefits." And while I think there is strong confidence from this House that the benefits will be forthcoming, that still doesn't take away from the fact that beneficiaries have a right to be incredibly convinced about those very benefits. I acknowledge my colleague Joanne Hayes in recognising the fear of the unknown, but I still think it is incumbent that beneficiaries are, every single effort is made to ensure that beneficiaries are comfortable and can fully understand the benefits. The protective mechanisms of the Māori Land Court have been discussed, as well as the costs. We sort of had to trade up a little bit, the difference between cheaper access against sort of longer times taken to try and resolve an issue and disputes and so forth. So I hope we sort of, the changes made through ongoing discussions as well as the Māori Affairs Select Committee can sort of ensure that that is not going to be a huge problem of access for whānau. I want to and actually one more sort of concern that I raised in particular was around conflict of interest of trustees and board members. And we see that the Select Committee have tried to ensure that that part of the legislation will keep things transparent and above board for all of the beneficiaries. And also the rollover of the trustees, the fact that in going from the board to the corporation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is that 1 minute to go? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That they did question just a straight rollover as opposed to a vote for trustees, but I understand that that is a standard practice. I just will spend the last few seconds talking about whānau also had aspirations. It appears, I'm hearing in the House that the Trust does indeed have whānau-centred and whakapapa-centred aspirations and projects happening. I want to I look forward to hearing that every single beneficiary feels that they at least are going to look forward to the benefits, that the power will be spread fair and just across whānau and beneficiaries. I want to acknowledge the hard work of the Select Committee to make the changes to try and ensure that very just application of power and benefits. And I lastly want to emphasise my absolute wish that the Wipere Trust continues in the nature of the tupuna wiremu pere and kia kaha to the work that they do. Kia ora.
Pita para one.